I know.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bridgewater Township meeting on December 17th, 7:30. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, the adequate notice of the meeting was provided on December 10th, 2024 by sending written notice and electronic notice to the Courier News and the Breeze, posting on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building, and filing with the township clerk. May we have the roll call, please?
Councilman Kirsch?
Here.
Councilman Cordilla?
Here.
Councilman Pedroso? Councilman Ring?
Good evening here.
President Nogales?
Here. Would you please stand with me, if you are able, for our Pledge of Allegiance, and remain standing for a brief moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. It has been a stressful time for many organizations across the world, and that moment of silence recognizes our support for everyone. Minutes for approval. Were the minutes circulated? Yeah, I didn't get to.
They were?
Okay, I didn't get. You want to move them? That's
No, because I was not here at the last
okay.
meeting.
I'll move the minutes from December 3.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are.
Let the record show I abstained.
Okay, Township Council reports. We're going to start with Councilman Kirsch. Please.
Okay, thank you. It's been a busy time. Going in chronological order, December 8th, we had a new officer swearing in ceremony I was pleased to be a part of. Also our holiday, or our Christmas tree lighting, which was quite a cold night, but a good time was had. On December 9th, I attended the ribbon cutting for Onkos Surgical, and that is an organization. Let me just get my notes. They are responsible for the first FDA-granted antibacterial coating for orthopedic implants, and that is now happening right in Bridgewater. And the reason why that is so important, and I'll just note the organization's. I'll note the organization's mission as part of this. They are dedicated to oncology patients and others who have complicated joint replacement needs. They are doing on-site R&D at a lab, along with the on-site implant coating, and here's a piece of their ribbon. So that'll be certainly great advancement that occurs here within Bridgewater's borders. Later in the day, December 9th, the zoning board met, approved a residential addition on Carteret Road, also heard additional testimony with Cafe Amelia off of Route 202-206 near Charlotte Drive. And that case was partially heard. It continued into 2026. I also appeared at the beginning of that meeting expressing my appreciation, both on behalf of myself and the Township Council, to our very hardworking zoning board members. We run an excellent board. We've heard that over and over again, but I thought it was also important that they hear that from me in an official capacity. The planning board met a couple of nights ago. The wine outlet, they have a sign variance that was carried to 2026. AR Bridgewater 2 LLC, extension of an approval was granted. And then, also a number of items that are going to be, part of our work tonight. Also expressed appreciation to that board because that is my last meeting as part of the planning board. And just express my appreciation to that board for the hard work that they do on behalf of the constituency as well. Earlier that evening, we were the end of a menorah car parade, using our menorah to celebrate Hanukkah. So that was occurring out in the courtyard. Also bears noting 2 nights from now or 1 night from now, excuse me, tomorrow night is the townwide official Hanukkah celebration. And today's been a busy day. The Senior Citizen Center holiday party was around noontime, the staff holiday party, and of course the council reception, honoring our outgoing council members. I want to just speak very briefly. I know we have a very full agenda about our two outgoing council members who are on the dais tonight. Howard, we've known each other a number of years. We particularly bonded in 2019 when I was running, and I made a very conscious attempt to ask Howard, to ask you to swear me in. I'm glad I did that. It certainly provides a link that we will always have, and hopefully at some point in the future I have the opportunity to swear someone else in and continue your legacy. You've worked hard. You've had a huge accomplishment on behalf of the town, and I know maybe later in the meeting, you'll have your say, but certainly wanted to get my words out. And Alan, I've known you for many, many years as well. Gotten to know you better, particularly through our council work. The year that really focuses my attention is when you were council president. I know that we really advanced our relationship that year, and then of course the year I was council president, was able to also reciprocate the strength of that relationship. I know neither of you's going anywhere. You're both in good health. You might be in better health come the first of the year without some of the stresses and strains. But for both of you, I look forward to seeing you in the future, seeing your families. Of course, seeing Nancy and Amanda, seeing Chris, and the connection that Howard and I will now have is his grandson Lucas will be transferring to the University of Pittsburgh. He'll be a student with my son Robert. And maybe they'll grab rides home together or go to sporting events or some kind of thing like that. So thank you, for a job very, very well done. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Ring, please.
Thank you, sir. Participated last week in the tree lighting, which was held out here in the courtyard. It was a chilly night, but I think overall a very good night, and thank all the folks that had their hands in putting that together. Today was a little bit of day of foods, I guess you could say. I started the first part of lunchtime today serving chili at the Senior Center potluck holiday luncheon before I was able to come over here and spend some time at the holiday party. And then this evening, some of the staff here hosted an event prior to our council meeting to recognize Councilman Cardilla and Councilman Nargalis on their service to the community, this being their last meeting. I did share some comments there. I will just not repeat those, but reiterate my appreciation for their service and dedication to the township. And also, I know both of them have family here in the audience, and say to their family, thank you, because it is not just a sacrifice that one makes sitting up here. One's family makes a sacrifice for those that sit up here. So to their family as well, thank you very much for sharing these two gentlemen with the township for the last 20 plus years. Lastly, we did have our first snowstorm this past winter. Seen a couple comments on social media. A couple folks have reached out. Just as a reminder that for all of our residents, that the township does have an ordinance as it relates to sidewalks and snow removal. And if you have a sidewalk in front of your house, you're given 12 hours of daylight after it stops snowing to make sure that your sidewalk is clear. There's certainly, with any ordinance, there's penalties and stuff built into that. Our goal is to drive compliance, though. So just as a reminder, if you have sidewalks in front of your house this winter, please make sure you're keeping them clear. And that is my report.
Thank you. Oh, just another reminder, if you have a fire hydrant in front of your house, please clear that so it can be accessed. We're going to make minor change. Alan and I, we're going to hold our council reports till the very end, so we're up to the mayor's report, please.
Thank you. The only thing I want to add publicly is thank you to Howard and Alan for your service. We will miss you on the dais, and thank you for everything you've done for the township over the past 2 decades of your service. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, there are no proclamations, no presentations. All right, we're up to item number 9, which is the meeting open to the public. Members of the public wishing to address the council on any matter will be allowed 3 minutes to speak unless there are unusual circumstances. Anyone wishing to address the council on any matter, come on up, Mr. Rose.
Motion to open the meeting to the public?
Oh, thank you. Motion to...
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are open. Chris Rose, by the way, is a well-known figure in the council. She has served on this council, on this side of the dais, and been on the Board of Education, and is very active in historical stuff.
Speaking of historical stuff, we are really,
Speak into the microphone,
we
Chris.
are really going to miss both of you. I know a lot of kind words and wonderful words were said before this event at your dinner, which was hosted by the clerk's office, and all of those things were certainly very much meant, but I just want to offer some of mine. Having served in your seats at one point in time, it's not an easy job. I think people see you, they see you sit here, they see you go through an agenda, bang, bang, boom, you're out the door, and that may be all of what they see. What they don't see is the amount of time that you give, all of you, behind the scenes to make sure that you're prepared for a vote, that you're prepared to understand the issues that are before you, that you've had a chance to really think about what your thoughts are, to get them all together before you come here and you speak. And that takes time. And I would be remiss if I didn't say to Howard, you are the best at it. I've worked with Howard for a lot of years on the council and then also a few years on the Board of Adjustment. There was never a meeting that Howard came to that he was not prepared for. And it didn't matter what it was. If you had a question, you could ask Howard, because Howard always, well, I think he always had the answer. There was one particular time in my mind when I was serving on the council that I am reminded of, and that was the day that we found out as a council we could not knock down the Lane Voorhees house. And I had to present to the council a grant application to save the house. And this, I know, ran contrary to Howard, because we were throwing, and we will, I'm not going to say this publicly, we're going to work very hard to preserve it and restore it, but at the time that we started this process, it didn't look like we were going anywhere but into a muddy pit. And I appreciate the council staying with me for this for a little while longer, and Howard, because I know it was hard for you, because a finance man would take one look at that project and go, what are you thinking? And I appreciate your continued thought. And after you guys go on your trip and you come back, whenever that is, that you're going on your trip, feel free. We're still working on the Lane Voorhees house. We have our eyes on a couple of other properties. We would love to have you. We'd love to have you be a member of our organization, Friends of Bridgewater History, or you could choose the Washington Campground Association, which meets less often. That one might be right up your alley, because we had to do some work on the land. But it's always been a pleasure to serve with you, Howard, and I'm sorry that Jane couldn't be here, because she told me before she came that she would be crying, so she didn't want to do that, because we will really miss you from this body. I know we will not miss you from the community, and I wish you much luck after you go, and I know you're going to go traveling because I told you so.
Got it.
But Chris has got it, okay.
I remember the day you and I went through Lane Voorhees, me in a Tyvek suit so I could see what was going on. We never did get down to the basement, but anyway.
It's haunted, by the way.
Your zeal and effort on behalf of saving as much as you can of Bridgewater is laudable. It really is.
Thank you.
It's a tribute to the fact that you have done as much. In fact, isn't Lane Brokoff now on the historical site?
Yes, it's on the register.
Yeah. But so thank you for your work.
We have a couple other properties in mind, but you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Just Matt does. Alan, what can I say? I don't think that people really understand the amount of work that you've done on open space. That committee has been your baby since it started. You have preserved land up one side of this place and down another. Some of it, but most of it has been to allow us to have green space where we need it in our town. We hear an awful lot about overdevelopment, and that's a whole other issue. But we have been able to, under your tutelage, protect a lot of our green space and use it effectively. And I appreciate that from you. You and I were pretty much a team on the council. We discussed things, we talked things. I think often we came from the same thinking, and I appreciated that because I valued it. I will say to you that I left the council when I wasn't planning to. That decision was taken out of my hands. But you get to a point where you start to say, well, maybe that wasn't such a mistake, that maybe there's something else out there which I'm finding to do that will hold my interest. And once I get over the shock of all of it and the idea that I don't have to come here on Thursday nights anymore and I can go bowling with Howard, you'll get to a point where you'll start to look at some other things that you can do, and it will be less of a heartache for you. I can vouch for that, although I do really appreciate you inviting me to tonight's evening. That meant a lot.
My pleasure.
That really meant a lot. Okay. I think that's all I can say, because at this point I'll be crying. But really, the two of you deserve a lot of credit for your work in the township. And we can't say that enough, and I'm sure that I don't think everybody appreciates that as much as I do, because I know what it means to be on that side of the table. So thank you, and forgive me, I have to leave because I have a 10:30 flight to Maine tomorrow, so I have to go pack. But by the way, if you get bored, you have my phone number, and you can always call Bill, and you have my phone number. Don't call Bill. Just find me, and Jane and I will find something very much for you to do. Don't worry about that.
Thank you. Chris.
Thank you for those very kind words. Okay. Anyone else? It looks like Joe LaFerry. Come on up, Joe. Sign in, please.
Council,
Joe-
Mr. Mayor,
Joe, sign in.
Mr. Administrator?
Joe, sign in,
Oh,
please.
okay.
Joe is one of two of our commissioners on the Somerset Valley Sewerage Authority, the other being Bob Albano, who's sitting over there.
Well, I just wanted to say that, well, first of all, my name is Dr. Joseph LaFerry. I'm a geotechnical and environmental engineer. I've been on the sewage authority now for like, I don't know, 15 years, I guess. Anyway, I thank you all for that. I also want to thank you all for your support of the authority, which we are certainly in need of, given that it's been our policy that when we don't wait for something to break. We repair, we maintain, because a failure of our sewage system would be catastrophic. We get over 26 million gallons of sewage a day into our plant. So we must maintain it. And it's not cheap. It costs money. But I assure you that the authority commissioners only do what's necessary. And we do that to save money for the constituents and for, obviously, the town of Bridgewater, which is the largest contributor of sewage to the authority. As you know, the authority consists of 7 towns. Bridgewater is the largest. So I wanted to thank you for all your support all the years to the authority. We certainly need it, and I thank you. And I want to also thank you for your service to Bridgewater. And I hope that the incoming council will show the same type of support to the sewage authority that you guys have. And again, I wish you the best of luck, and have a pleasant evening.
Thanks, Joe. Bridgewater represents more than 30% of the utilization of the facility, and therefore we have to bear 30% of the cost. But very necessary. People have become accustomed to be able to flush their toilets, and Joe and Bob take care of it at their end. So is there anyone else who would like to address the council? Please come on up. This is Joan Geiger, the soon-to-be council president. She'll be sitting up here in another couple of weeks.
That's right, Joan Geiger, soon-to-be council president. I just want you to know I left a really fun party to come here tonight to say happy holidays to all of you. Happy New Year. I want to thank Councilman Cardilla and Council President Norgalis for their service. Howard, I don't know how I'm going to ever fill your shoes. I will be calling you and asking you for help and
okay.
advice. And I know you're going to be available because I'm going to track you down no matter where you are. And again, just happy holidays, and thank all of you for being so gracious and so helpful with the transition. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Bob, come on up. And Bob spent 24 years sitting on this side of the dais.
Good evening, council members and staff. I'm honored to be here tonight to express my appreciation to the years of service that you have given to the benefit of this community. The other thing that's interesting, and I believe I'm glad that Mrs. Geiger was able to come before me because she demonstrated one of the most important things about our democracy, and that is we have the peaceful and cordial transfer of power. And that is what's happening next week. And so I hope that the sitting council members will treat the new council members with the courtesy and dignities that they were given when they were fresh on the dais. And I was there when, except for Tim, every one of you sat on the council. And one of the things that was paramount to our conduct when I was on the council is that door is where the politics stops. It's not a party, it's the people of this township that you were elected to serve. And I hope that all of you, and that will continue in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Anyone else wishing to address the council?
Should have asked Bob if the clock worked then.
Good evening, Kathy Franco, Weemac Road. So I just want to be sure, ordinances will be a separate public comment section, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes, there'll be a public meeting for each of the 5 ordinances.
Okay, great. Councilman Ring, you highlighted the sidewalk ordinance, so I just didn't know, is there a requirement for roads cleaning, like a time frame that roads need to be cleaned? Because I've seen a lot on social media about individual roads not necessarily being cleaned within a certain time frame. So maybe you don't have an answer, but maybe it's something we can all look at.
If there's a concern about a specific road, I would suggest letting the administration know.
Okay,
since they oversee that.
if anybody, expresses that, I will certainly tell them to let administration know.
You have to understand that in Bridgewater Township, there's roads Bridgewater does, there's roads the county does.
I
and
totally
then-
understand that
and
there's
some-
county, there's state, there's
Well, and
local.
then there's also, in some developments, it's done by the homeowners association.
I do understand that.
And further, there are some roads that are border streets. We do our side, perhaps a neighboring community is responsible for the other side. It's
And
not
is
a
that-
one-size-fits-all and
Well,
automatic.
no, I do understand that. So, some of those bordering communities might be Bound Brook, Somerville, Warren, and I do understand where those are, and hopefully those are demonstrated on your roadmap as to what, who's responsible for what. So thank you. I'm glad to see the audit on the agenda. I also saw that there's information about a corrective action plan, and I didn't know whether or not that piece would be discussed tonight, or if there's a way for the public to access exactly what the corrective action was on the audit.
The audit will be accepted, and the next part of that is the corrective action, which will also be discussed tonight.
And is that available through an Oprah, the corrective action?
Oh, you'll be able to see it.
Well,
in fact-
because it really doesn't go into detail as to what the
Kathy,
issues were on the
Here,
correct.
take my copy.
Thank you very much.
And it's the last couple of pages. Anyone else? I'm sorry, I didn't,
No, I appreciate that. Let's see, item 12S talks about, let's see, I don't, it represented that there would be no cost to the township. Let me just go to it.
that is true. There are specific, and Mr.
12, I'm sorry, what was
probably in
it?
the best position.
12S,
S.
But,
S as in Sam,
okay, that's the one, the
professional
Hartford.
services for tax council to be paid on a contingent basis at no cost to the township. But from what I read from the attachment, 33% of, I guess, the savings will go to them. So in reality, there is a cost to the township because if there's a savings, they're getting 33% of that. Oh, okay. So I just want to be clear that there is a cost because the township isn't recovering 100%. We're only recovering 67%. Okay. And finally, I would like to thank Howard Cordilla, Howard Nogales, Alan Cordilla, and Felipe Pedroso for your years of service on this council and to the township. I know that you have served not just in this capacity, but in many other ways. I hope that you will continue to serve the township in whatever ways possible. I know that you are committed to the betterment of the community, and I thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy.
And wishing you all a very happy holiday.
Anyone else wishing to address the council?
Seeing no one, motion to close public comment.
Second, please.
I'll second.
All those in favor of closing the public, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we are closed for item 9. Moving to 10, which is a public hearing and final action, ordinance 10A, bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $4.1 million for Middlebrook Sanitary Sewer Pumping Station improvements, Phase 2 in and by the Township of Bridgewater in the County of Somerset, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $4.1 million of bonds and notes of the township for the financing thereof. And if you bear with me 1 second, I have a brief squig that I want to read. At the November 6th meeting, it was announced that the public hearing and final action on the $4.1 million sewer bonding would be held on December 3rd. A last-minute question from the council led to the council vote being carried to today, 12/17, but at the suggestion of the bond council, the public hearing was held as scheduled on 12/3 with no public comments. Therefore, our job today is discussion and voting only on this ordinance. This is a package that we have talked about literally for months. Councilman Kirsch and I have visited the pumping station. I've been down in the hole, recognizing that this is a 50-year-old plant that is in dire need of upgrading. And this $4.1 million, which Tom Genova, seated over there, who is our township administrator, including DPW and Public Works and a whole batch of other things, has been very diligent in going over the process. We engaged an engineer to go over in detail what this station needed in terms of size of pump, number of pumps, and changes, and including an entirely new electronic system. As a firefighter, over the years, I was used to going into hazardous locations with meters to measure how much gas there is in a location. I was saddened to see that our own DPW people, when they go down the 50 feet, climb a circular staircase all the way down to where the pumps are located, have to carry a meter with them so that they can test whether or not there's any volatile or hazardous gases down in that pit. Part of this renovation is updating that so there will be an adequate alarm system to improve the safety for our employees. I could probably go on for another 10 minutes, but I better stop. Does anyone have any questions on this specific bond ordinance?
I mean, I'll just simply comment that this is a necessary investment. Certainly, we don't take the spending of $4.1 million lightly, but it's a necessary investment to make sure that the sewer utility continues to have physical and fiscal health. You know, there are literally rivers running beneath Bridgewater that people don't know and don't want to know. And by, you know, all the water that comes out of your house, your laundry, your everything goes into this system. And by being proactive and hopefully setting this station up for success for many, many years to come, this is a very important action that we're taking.
Okay. If there are no other,
I'll just echo, I think Joe summed it up best when he was speaking before about the SRVA. You know, their job is to fix things before they break because we can't afford to have them break. And I think this is a step following that, so.
excellent. With that in mind, we've already had the public meeting. We're up to the point for a roll call on voting, please.
Well, you need a motion.
I need a motion to
Oh.
approve.
You're our resident.
I make that motion.
Well, since I've been the secondary person, I'll second that motion.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes,
President Nogales?
Yes. Joe and Bob?
they stepped out.
Oh, okay. Moving to 10B, an ordinance of the Township of Bridgewater amending Section 126 of the Bridgewater Township Code, repealing and replacing Section 126-321.10 titled AH3 Affordable Housing Zone, allowing for 11 100% affordable multifamily residential development units and 4 disabled veterans housing units pursuant to the provisions of the Fair Housing Act and any uniform housing and affordability controls on Block 406, Lot 2.01. Could I have a motion, please, to open to the public on this item?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are open to the public for anyone wishing to provide input on this matter. Please come up, sign in, give us your name and address, please. By the way, how many people want to talk about this tonight? Okay. How many of you are Bridgewater residents? Okay, I'd like to hear from the Bridgewater residents first. No, you're up here, so we'll hear from you. But I'd like to hear from the Bridgewater people and then everybody else, please. And by the way, in terms of speaking, I would ask you to confine your comments to 3 minutes. I have asked Councilman Kirsch to provide a timing so that at the end of 3 minutes, he will announce the time is up, and I ask you to take a big breath and then finish your sentence and then take your seat. I cannot afford to have this issue talked to death tonight. I want to make sure we hear from everybody, but this is not the type of thing that can be filibustered. Please continue.
Yes, sir. My name is Amanda Kronmeyer. I'm an attorney with Herald Law, and I represent 6 residents that are located within 200 feet of this property. That's commonly referred to as Cornell Boulevard site.
Are any of the residents that you represent here today? Okay, you're speaking for them, so they cannot speak.
Yes, and so
Okay,
those
just so long as we're clear on that.
those
Okay.
residents are Jennifer Fleischer and Jason D. Rodger, residents in the borough of Somerville, Brian Riley in the borough of Somerville, Richard F. Cash, Township of Bridgewater, and George E. Cook and Barbara Cook, also in Bridgewater. So our clients are also named plaintiffs in a pending litigation challenging the original adoption of this AH3 zone, which is in docket SOML 1455-25. We urge the council to reconsider the adoption of this proposed ordinance, which I believe is ordinance 25-24, in its current form. The proposed ordinance still fails to adequately protect the adjacent residential neighbors located in both the Township of Bridgewater and the Borough of Somerville. And we also believe that it is inconsistent with the recently adopted 2025 Master Plan Reexamination Report. Further, the proposed ordinance is contrary to the MLUL as it's not drawn with reasonable consideration to the character of the surrounding residential neighborhoods, nor does it encourage the most appropriate use of the land. So just to begin, the site shares a lot line with two of our clients' properties. Mr. Cash's property, 203 Cornell Boulevard, which is Block 406, Lot 3, and the Cook property, 199 Cornell Boulevard, Block 406, Lot 4. Both of those lots are located in the township's R10 single-family residential zone. Further, the site has frontage adjacent to the Borough of Somerville's R1 single-family residence district. So despite being directly adjacent to low-density single-family residential uses, there are no setback requirements in the current AH3 zone, nor in this proposed replacement AH3 zone set forth in this ordinance. The prior zoning, C1 zone, the commercial zoning district for this Cornell Boulevard site, required a minimum front yard and rear yard setback of 25 feet for principal buildings, a minimum side yard setback of 15 feet for one side and 40 feet for both sides. The R10 zone, which is where two of our clients' properties are located, including the site, the property that's surrounded by this site, that one has a requirement of a minimum front yard setback of 30 feet with a minimum rear yard setback of 20 feet. And it has the same side yard setbacks as the C1 zone. And so, despite what the planning board may have determined regarding the proposed ordinance's consistency with the master plan documents in this township, this ordinance is not substantially consistent with the recommendations. So the recommendations of the 2025 master plan reexamination report recommends updating this zone to provide more detail related to access and buffering that create more strict guidelines to govern the site. The provisions, C7, C8, and D2, there's no specifics regarding the proposed location or the size of the landscape buffer and fencing, considering, again, that there's no setback requirements in this affordable housing zone. And there's also no planting height requirements, nor specific types of plantings called out in the ordinance. Further, in terms of the access driveways being located a minimum of 20 feet away from adjacent residential use, there's no specifics about where along the driveway, where the parking lot spaces are.
Counsel, do you have a lot more that you're going to
No,
read?
I'm in conclusion now, last page.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your courtesies. In conclusion, courts have long counseled that the need to provide housing opportunities for low and income need housing doesn't need to lead to poor planning. That's Mount Laurel too. Here, there are significant ramifications for the adjacent single-family residential neighbors, both within the township and the borough of Somerville. And from the proposed ordinance allowing multifamily use of this site, along with the veterans housing, there's not enough protection for these low-density residential neighborhood. And therefore, we urge the council to please proceed in accordance with the applicable laws and regulations and not vote favorably on this proposed ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I now hear from the Bridgewater residents, please? Resident or residents, please?
Now, that would be those residents not represented by council, just to clarify, correct?
Are you represented by, oh, well, I'm sorry. As I said before, if you're represented by counsel who just spoke, you are not, that is your representation. You cannot speak at this meeting. That's the law.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Larry Dwyer, Sr. I've been a resident for Bridgewater for almost 60 years, over on Foothill Road, the same house. Watched a lot of things happen in this town, not all for the better. For many years, I was neighbors with Bob O'Shea and John Wimple. Maybe you folks know those names. Mm-hmm. And we fought the mall and rapid expansion of commercialism in town. And though we're not always successful, one project the town did listened to was keeping John's property from becoming a housing development. And now it's partially owned by the town. It's going to be a park, Robert Vaucher Revolutionary Park off Foothill Road. You're aware of that, I guess. That's one they agreed to. But I am a veteran, Marine veteran, and I find it deeply troubling that affordable housing, potentially including veterans, is being proposed on a highway ramp or adjacent to a ramp. Placing people in need of stability and safety next to a major highway doesn't seem to make too much sense. I don't think any of us would like to live there. Yes, people will likely, will live there because they have no choice, but that doesn't make it humane or responsible. These residents deserve better living conditions. While I understand the obligation to provide affordable housing, there must be a better alternative. Fulfilling a requirement should not come at the expense of basic quality of life. And I know this affects negatively on some of the residents on Cornell Boulevard. And the only way I know, most people don't even know if this is going on, I don't think. The only reason I know is my son and his family live on Summit. So they know about it there, but I don't think anybody else in Bridgewater, I wouldn't have known about it. And from what I heard in the past, there's some flooding in that area too. I don't know whether it's a fact or not, but I heard from people that live there. And appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you. Would you sign your name and address, please? And thank you for your service.
Excuse me?
Thank you for your service.
Oh.
You said you were a Marine, right?
My pleasure. All right, with this pen.
All right, ready for the next Bridgewater resident to speak.
Thank you.
Good day, sir.
Hello, my name is Carolyn Joya. I live at 1402 Paley Court. Did not expect to speak tonight. Cornell Boulevard. I was T-boned on Cornell Boulevard in 2023. I think it was 23, maybe it was 21. That intersection, every time I go by it, I'm getting a panic attack right now. And the reason why I think I was T-boned is because there's a lot of cars that come up from Somerville and West End. There's a traffic light right there. And it's to regulate flow of traffic into the circle. That particular day, I was heading to Somerville at 6 o'clock. And there were so many cars backed up, I couldn't see anything on the other side. I didn't expect somebody to come zooming out there and T-boning me. But I did, and I was, very shaken. And the gentleman actually had a stop sign, and I was informed by the police officer he should have stopped. He said he stopped, we don't know. I went to the Shell station there to get footage the next day. They didn't have it, but they said there was an accident the day before. Same thing. Very dangerous intersection, and I almost died there. So please consider that when you're adding more traffic on that road. You can look it up. Unfortunately, my case went through litigation. All the details are there. The police reports are there. The police told me it was a bad intersection. Do your research. And please keep us safe. Thank you.
Hello again, Kathy Franco, Weemac Road. I guess my first comment is I don't know according to what statute or rule there is that prevents or excludes people who are otherwise represented by council from being able to come and share their opinions or their comments tonight. I don't know what gives this council the authority to limit those individuals and prevent them from commenting. I don't know if there's a legal basis for that, but you know, maybe that's why I don't like attorneys, because, and anyway, getting on to my second point is, as far as this property, I think that the township has misused the ability to change things in the master plan, that this is a spot zoning without any notification to residents on abutting properties. And I know I've heard from Councilman Kirsch that, oh, there's no requirement. And I understand there may not be a legal requirement to notify abutting properties that there's going to be a zoning change to the property next to you. But you know what? I think every single Bridgewater resident needs to be aware of the fact that this is the way that this council has acted, because they didn't notify the adjoining properties that, oh, guess what? We're going to change the abutting property to you from this zone to something different. And that is very disconcerting to me as a resident, because I know where I live. I know what I bought next to. I know that, you know, they were all zoned as a certain type of property, and I felt a certain level of comfort. I didn't buy next to a farm that could be rezoned. I didn't buy next to, you know, something else. I bought in a residential neighborhood. And this is very disconcerting to myself, and I think it should be disconcerting to every single resident of this township that spot zoning can take place and that abutting residents are not notified. Thank you.
Any other Bridgewater residents? Okay, residents from any other town who wish to speak on this issue?
Good evening. My name is Kim Wortman, and I last had the opportunity to speak before you at the September 18th council meeting, just 3 short months ago. And at that time, I respectfully requested you rescind the ordinance before you. This is spot rezoning at its worst. Specifically, Block 406, Lot 201, and the 3 key reasons I provided, which have been articulated by those who preceded me: safety, environmental impact, and appropriateness. It's inappropriate. While those reasons have not changed, I've had time to reflect and drive community awareness and engagement. I'm here to respectfully request once again you rescind this ordinance to spot rezone Block 406, Lot 201. The historic defeat of the Bridgewater Republican Council incumbents this past November should serve as a serious warning before those of you remaining continue the current path to spot rezone Block 406, Lot 2.01. I'm here today to offer support in exploring Bridgewater's 32 vast acres to find a more appropriate location. I will come and volunteer time. I will do research. I will help you. Let's find the right place for this high-density project. I'm also here to offer my support in helping rewrite the DCA grant. You receive $3 million, actually Wheatworth, it's called Wheatworth property. And what I'd like to do is actually help you rewrite it for the newly identified site and also make sure it conforms with the requirement the state has, which says it helps municipalities create smaller scale projects that fit into the landscapes of their neighborhoods. That's lovely.
This one does not. I've already submitted an Oprah request. Just before I came, I got the document, so I'll let you know what I find, and very willing to help again. I see Philippe is not here, Councilman Pedroso. I recommend you heed his guidance. At the December 3rd council meeting, he reminded all of us that he had not supported this ordinance, as he wanted a cost analysis completed. And I would urge you to do the same. I would love to see a cost analysis before Bridgewater continues to misstep. And finally, as the daughter and sister of former fire chiefs and as the former fire commissioner in Somerville, I would ask you take a moment to ensure all due diligence is employed in assessing this site before approval, including the potential strain you will be placing on volunteer emergency service personnel with response time and potential for new high-rise equipment. I'll close. Thank you for your time. And I would re-invite you to come walk with me in the neighborhood. The invitation stands. And the woman who had the accident, I live that every day. It is a sport trying to get around the neighborhood and walk safely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council? This lady's first. Come on up.
My name's Gaynor Newmeyer.
Please write your name and an address on the paper, please.
Just keep in mind when you're speaking, you're not only speaking to this audience, but it's being live streamed, so please adjust the mic if necessary.
Hi, my name's Gaynor Newmeyer, and I live at 291 West Summit Street.
Pull the mic,
Somerville.
stand a little closer to it or pull it down, please. There you go.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I'm here also to put up some arguments against the rezoning. It seems to me that the negatives really outweigh the positives in putting the affordable housing on that site. First of all, really, for the people that are going to live there, it's the on-ramp to 4 major highways. In the morning, like when you walk your dog or that, it's all quiet, but the noise from the traffic is really bad. And you just think, that's going to be such a horrible, miserable place to live. I think it's unfair to put people there. It's kind of, it really puts them down to put them in a place like that right on a motorway. But apart from that, there's groundwater problems there, and the 2 people whose houses are going to go up against that are really going to suffer from water damage. They're going to lose parts of their property by the sound of it. And so that's going to really affect them. It's also going to affect the rest of the neighbourhood, just with the noise and the destruction and from the excess traffic that we're going to get. And like that lady said, there's a lot of traffic that really whizzes around there, and also with that traffic light now near the circle, that makes things really slow in the morning anyway, so with more traffic it's going to be hard. But really, I'm all for affordable housing. I think it's great, and I think that New Jersey's doing the right thing. And I think you're obviously really trying to commit to do that and to help with that, but this just isn't really the right location. I think probably you all know that. So thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thank you. Okay, I saw 2 more. Come on up, sir.
Good evening. My name is Nathan Cook. I live in Raritan, and I'll give you the chance to deny me the opportunity to speak. My parents are at 199 Cornell Boulevard, and they are represented.
Go ahead.
We'd have to ask our counsel. I don't.
There is discretion.
Go ahead. It's okay.
Thank you. So I'm not going to be able to address the points made better than the people that have spoken before me, but I do want to ask a question. of everyone on that
There
side.
will be no questions asked of the council. You can make a statement, but there will be no response from this council.
Oh, I understand that, yes. So I know who the winners are in this process. The landowner, they've been trying for decades to develop this property. They won. I know who the losers are, the people who are going to have to live next to the highway, the residents impacted behind me. Who are the other winners? I know you're not going to answer. Who else wins? Awesome. Thank you for your time.
We're not in a position to answer. That's the reason you didn't receive an answer.
I didn't expect an answer.
Okay, thank
Well,
you.
but this is now becoming theatrics.
Please.
It's
Sir, thank
not
you.
just becoming theatrics.
Thank you, sir. Next person? I see Brett Rowdy.
Lauren Hutchison. I live on West Summit in Somerville. Good evening, President, Council President, and members of the council. My name is Lauren Hutchison. I'm a scientist and resident of Somerville. I'd rather be anywhere else but here tonight. I think of the statistic that people rather, they fear public speaking more than death. And so, but I also mentor young girls in Girl Scouts, and I work on the democracy badge. And one of the things we always tell them, we tell them that democracy is not a spectator sport. And I say that very confidently. However, I know it's hard to come up and speak. But I want to show them that I'm practicing what I teach. If you see something in your government that doesn't seem right, you have a duty to speak up. What doesn't seem right to me is this rush. You're weeks away from a new council reorganization in January. You have the board voting on a massive permanent change to your town's border, essentially on the way out the door. If this plan is truly good for Bridgewater, it will still be good in January. Why is there urgency to push this through 3 weeks before new leadership takes the helm? As a scientist, I look at data. You aren't just changing the name on the map. You're physically degrading the land. Under the old C1 zoning, impervious coverage was capped at 50%. This new H3 zone raises it to 60. You're authorizing more asphalt and less drainage next to a brook. Even worse, this ordinance explicitly exempts parking lots from setback requirements, stripping away the buffers that protect our neighbors. We're all neighbors here. Fundamentally, we all want what's best for this area, but good planning is about using resources wisely and making the world a better place. 2 core lines in the Girl Scout law. Passing over a buffer zone to put vulnerable veterans next to a highway without proper setbacks is not using your land resources wisely. And rushing a vote during the holidays when a new board is about to sit does not seem honest and fair. At the very least, table the vote. Let the new council look at the cost analysis that Mr. Pedroso mentioned and the environmental impacts. Set a better example for your next generation of leaders we're trying to raise. The end, and I didn't die.
Thank you.
Oh, your pen died up here. Sorry, Howard.
Hey, Brett.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
All right, I know I'm under the timer, so I'll get myself moving here. All right. I honestly do not understand.
You have to say a name and address, please.
Brett Ratty, 289 West Summit Street in Somerville. Thank you, Howard. I honestly do not understand why the policy statements and references made by our public officials from the governor of the state of New Jersey, affiliated state agencies in the township of Bridgewater over the past several years absolutely do not apply in this case. By way of example, Governor Murphy just sent out a year-end policy statement touting his environmental record and open space achievements. while at the same time the Department of Community Affairs under the Municipal Settlement Fund is distributing $3 million to develop this site. This fund has the following mission statement embedded in its selection criteria. It states the fund is used for smaller scale projects that fit into the landscape of the neighborhood. The landscape of the neighborhood. Did anyone even bother to see what the neighborhood looks like? It is a single-family residential neighborhood, which does not contain any three-story apartment buildings. Surely something was overlooked during this grant review process. I'm going to go back to an article back in 2019, where, as your Bridgewater Mayor Matt Mensch said as he was coming on board in 2020, he requested the establishment of a public advocate for planning board issues. Mayor Mensch said that a public advocate is a step to restore public trust in the planning board. The public advocate is accountable only to the public, not the politicians. A November 19th article written by Mike Deek for My Central Jersey states, Mensch argues that the special meeting was improperly scheduled and was called to fast-track the application before Hayes, who served on the planning board and as mayor, leaves office on December 31st. So I would ask, gentlemen, what the rush is. You have the majority of council members leaving in 2 weeks, so I would ask you to supply the same standard. Why rush, recuse yourself, and let the new council decide? Why does the proposed A83H zoning ordinance have no required setbacks, required lot width, or max floor area requirements, which is inconsistent with almost every other zone in the township? The facts cannot be ignored. This is nothing more than a money grab with $3 million in play. The developer applied for a state grant on October 3rd and was awarded the grant by mid-November. For those of you who have been around a long time, that's an incredible achievement for the state of New Jersey, when on a normal day you can't even reach anybody at the state. I believe the process was rushed, the environmental impacts and inconsistent review of the neighborhood was ignored. In closing, I will borrow from a recent press release that put out by the mayor's office in Bridgewater Township. I quote, "We are deeply concerned by the development." In that case, he was referring to Vossler Avenue. "The preservation of Bridgewater's environment and ecosystems is of paramount concern to us on behalf of our residents." So I would ask the Township Council to apply the same passion and concern to this parcel and vote no. And by the way, thank you to both of you for your years of service. I know I've worked with you over the years, and I know it's a tough job, but I think you guys really deserve and should vote no on this. It's spot zoning at the finest. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Anyone else wishing to address the council?
Your pen has run out of ink. So,
Here we go.
thank you. My name is Jocelyn Eckhart. I live at 194 Cornell Boulevard in Somerville. I've lived there for 42 years. Unfortunately, I can tell by some of your faces that you're tired of listening to what we have to say. So some of us have been extremely eloquent. Some of us have been extremely respectful. I'm going to take a slightly different tact. Because I have to admit, I'm baffled. Totally, undeniably baffled as to why this council chose this parcel of land to house some of the most vulnerable members of our population. It isn't like there aren't other locations available, because there are. So why here? I don't think we've heard that from you yet. No, I wasn't in the room where it happened, but I imagine there was a lot of thought put into selecting this lot for the betterment of individuals who have no place else to turn for a warm bed and a sturdy roof over their heads. So I'm sure you are aware that about 25% of the affordable housing population are senior citizens. So you chose this location because of its proximity to a grocery store, a post office, a library, a pharmacy, a senior center, peaceful walking paths, and perhaps mass transit, right? You know, the things that senior citizens want to have near their new home, things they value when they move. No, this lot doesn't have any of that. Okay, so maybe you were thinking about the roughly 44% of affordable house occupants who are families, often with only one parent and sometimes a disabled parent. So you chose this lot because of its proximity to their school, the parks and basketball courts they like to play on, the grassy fields where they can run, play touch football. And you especially thought about the safety of those children growing up, right? No? None of these things are true about this piece of land either? In fact, these children would be living so close to the highway they could reach it in a matter of seconds on their big wheels. But don't worry, they'll have fun playing at the tire store, the gas station, and the diner. Those places they can walk to safely. Okay, so it's not about the families. It's not about the senior citizens. So it must be about the disabled veterans that you constantly tout when you talk about this affordable housing. That they are here, they're being housed here as a reward for their service to our country. And Mr. Dwyer touched on this a little bit earlier. There obviously are sidewalks for them to use if they have difficulties walking without a device. They will have windows that open to hear the peaceful song of birds in the morning to relieve whatever anxiety they may be dealing with post-war. And there are rehab facilities and social services nearby that they can access easily. No? Oh. Instead, they will have the screeching of cars and the wailing of ambulances and fire trucks roaring past, lulling them gently to sleep every night. I want to just end with one thing. Would any of you up there on that dais want their 80-year-old mother, Army veteran uncle, or recently divorced sister with 3 kids to live here? Ask yourselves that question every time you try to justify this choice, and every time you put your head on your pillow and listen to the crickets chirping from your perfectly manicured back lawns. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council?
I'm Cynthia Hollard, Somerville resident. I'm here to express my opposition to the spot zoning.
I'm sorry, your address, ma'am?
91 Prospect Street.
No. Okay, Bridgewater?
Somerville.
Somerville, okay.
I'm here to express my opposition to the spot zoning ordinance that will permit the Cornell Boulevard development. Like many other people that have spoken this evening, this parcel is not appropriate for any type of housing, whether it be $1 million single-family home, luxury apartments, home for disabled veterans, or affordable housing. I would not personally want to live on a major highway wedged between commercial buildings, the Somerville Circle, which we all know the Somerville Circle, and ramps to 287, 22, and 202, 206, sometimes referred to as the crossroads of central New Jersey. This location has deafening traffic noise and significant pollution from car and truck exhaust. Fortunately, I have options as to where I can live. And many of us here, I assume, also have options as to where we can live. Not everyone is as fortunate as to have those options, such as people needing affordable housing or disabled veteran housing. They should not be forced to live on a major highway with noise and exhaust pollution. And I ask for you to consider this as you go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Liam Rodker, and I'm 10 years old. I live at 110 Prospect Street in Somerville. Before I begin, I just want to make it clear that I was not asked to speak up here. I came because I'm deeply concerned about the proposed development for Lot 207 on Cornell Boulevard. The town of Bridgewater is moving forward with a plan that seems unsuitable for a residential neighborhood. They are proposing high-density housing on a site that is a swamp adjacent to a major highway. The plan involves removing our existing wooded sound barrier. At night, we can already hear the highway clearly, and in the winter, we can even see it. Putting 4 units aside for disabled veterans in the specific location is particularly concerning. The constant noise and exhaust fumes from the highway cause significant stress, which can trigger PTSD and lead to various other illnesses, such as lung disease. We should not be placing vulnerable residents in an unhealthy environment. Furthermore, our existing neighborhood is unsuitable for this type of dense development. We have no sidewalks, and our old streets cannot support that much additional traffic. Currently, our neighborhood is very walkable. My brother and I walk our dog around our block, and we play at a small park at the end of our street. As a DIY hobbyist and small engine mechanic, I walk down to the Napa Auto Parts store at the end of my street. I know the people there, and they are very helpful with my projects. Putting this affordable housing here would make our neighborhood unsafe. With more traffic, it would become unwalkable and affect our everyday lives. When you vote on this matter, I would like you to please consider all of these safety and health concerns. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council?
Hi, my name is Hassan Beg. I live on 5 Arlene Drive in Somerville. So like others, I live basically, I can see that lot from my office window, but I actually want to talk about my history. So I actually was in affordable housing when I was younger. I didn't actually come up here planning to talk about this. I just came to support my community, but I figured I'd give that perspective since we had a veteran up here earlier as well. So when my parents were down sort of out of luck, when I was 4, we lived in affordable housing in Jacksonville, Florida. But I actually never knew that until I think I was probably 25, because it actually looked like the neighborhood next to us, and it looked like the neighborhood on the other side. I lived in a townhome, 2-bedroom, 1-bath townhome, and the surrounding neighborhoods were all townhomes of the same density. And so thinking of it from families that could be in that area, as a kid, I never knew what was going on, but I can see a child walking out of that neighborhood and seeing a bunch of single-family homes and realizing that their home is actually different than everyone else's there, and they will actually feel that. But coming from somewhere where I never felt that, to be honest, it came up in an off conversation I had with my aunt that like, oh, you guys lived in this community, it was called Clearwater. That was an affordable housing home. And I actually never even knew that. I never had part of my identity that was a part of that. And I think it would be very unfortunate to put something like this in a neighborhood where any family that lives there or anyone that lives there will actually feel that they are not part of the community next to them. I grew up and I played in the park right next to my house. I could walk to it. So did the kids from the other neighborhood. I never knew anything was going on. But that's the part that I want to bring to the story, is that you're actually not only affecting the residents that are there. I have a small kid too, and I live in that neighborhood. He rides his little Jeep and scooter around there all the time. And I understand the traffic and the issues, but I think also think of it from the perspective of those that you're going to be putting in those neighborhoods, though we've heard that they're going to be placed there. That's going to be their only option. And how they're going to feel when they sit there and their kids walk out to the street and they see all these other families and people, that they're going to be able to tell the difference. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, good evening.
Thanks for your time.
Speak into the microphone, please, sir.
Thank you for your time. I'm Heinz Neumeyer. I live on 291 West Summit Street. I work very often. I drive for a living. I drive around the circle very often. I drive around there probably 10 times a day. It's not only that you are coming up the ramp. When you are coming up the ramp going towards the mall where the house is proposed to be, I have a speed of 40 miles per hour. The traffic coming from 202 has often a speed of 50 miles per hour. The noise when people coming over the ramp or over the highway and they're slowing down in order to go to 22, those big trucks coming from the Flemington side, when they brake, their jackhammers brakes, it makes so much noise. In the wintertime, when there's no leafage on the trees, in our neighbor, I live about 400 yards away from the circle. In my backyard, I can hear the noise from the highways. It's not only one highway, it's 3 highways. There's 202, there's 206, there's 22. They're all combined there. This is the center of our community. When you look behind you and you see the map of Bridgewater, you're proposing a building right in the middle of it in the near future. In 50 years, we don't know what happens. And things have evolved in the last 50 years. And when you are planning now something what you might not be able to reconstruct in a matter of time, I would advise you look at the plans one more time, find a better location for those people who are looking for housing. But I don't think anybody would want to live there. If you come into my backyard, you're going to hear the noise. And I'm a substantial amount away from the circle, where when you live very close to it, I don't think you wanna spend more time there. Yesterday I was walking the dog in the morning, kind of like around 6 o'clock. It was as if I was standing right next to the highway. So I would advise you to reconsider it. I don't think anybody here mentioned anything positive about this project besides nobody behind me. I haven't heard anything positive so far yet. Thank you so much for your time. Have a very nice evening, and thank you for your service. Bye-bye.
Hi, good evening, happy holidays. Thanks for hearing us. I just wanted to speak as a...
Name and address.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Eileen Foley, and I'm at 28 Prospect Street in Somerville. I have the good fortune of working from home most of the time, so I'm walking my dog a ton. So from Mountain Avenue to Cornell, my loop pretty much is Prospect Street, and then I go around to Altamont. So Prospect, Summit, and then Altamont. There's so many cars that just cut that way to get to Cornell, and then head over to get back to West End. And sorry to hear about your horrific accident. So just really concerned from a safety perspective as far as traffic and pedestrians. A lot of young kids in the neighborhood, myself and my dog. So just the location seems in poor choice. I echo what Mr. Dwyer said too. For the purpose of the housing, it's probably one of the worst locations. So thank you for hearing from us tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, good evening. Colleen Runyon, 12 Arlene Drive, Somerville. I know you've heard a lot,
So I'm just going to be quick, and I kind of have a few things that I know you're not going to answer, but I'm just putting the questions out there because I think they're very valid topics, and I think they're things that you should be asking yourselves when you are thinking about voting to go forward with this terrible project. Basically, the first thing I want to talk about is, have you ever stood outside of Time to Eat Diner and had a conversation? You can't because it's so loud. The Jake brakes from the trucks, the 3 different highways meeting up, people speeding, horns honking, it's awful. Now imagine actually living with that every day, trying to sleep with that every day, having children want to play, I guess, on the pavement outside of their apartment in that noise. Not something that should be thought of as a good idea. The fact that you devalue veterans and low-income families to the point where you're putting them on a highway and you're throwing them into like a parcel that is the size of a stamp really is something that should be reconsidered when there are hundreds of acres of land in Bridgewater that could be used much more viably and be given these people much better housing and better situations for their lives. I live down the hill, and my simple science that I understand is that when you concrete over land, water doesn't seep in. So my question to you is, what kind of environmental studies have been done? I know Mr. Cash's house is right next door to that, and everything kind of comes on a downhill. So not only does water not seep in, it also goes in the direction of down. So this water is now going to be coming from this area that used to have trees, plants, soil, that's now being taken away in this small section, and the water is going to go where? Into his yard, down the hill, into our areas. What kind of money compensation is being put aside for when this happens and you need to remediate the problem? Another thought you should have in your head. And finally, the third one is safety. Cornell Boulevard, if you have driven Cornell Boulevard, I don't know how many of you actually have, it's a very narrow road. You can barely have 2 cars go by each other, one going either way. We have children who walk to school. We have children and families who walk dogs. We have families who just walk the neighborhood. It is not a safe place to be adding more vehicles, more people, and more traffic. These are all just things I think that really should be thought about and put into questions and answers before you actually go forward with this any further. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Okay. I think we're up to our last participant.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is David Holland. I live at 91 Prospect Street in Somerville, and I'm here to announce that I am going to be the volunteer for Ian's campaign when he runs for mayor in Somerville in a few years. Thank you, Ian. We need that enthusiasm. But to the point of why we're here this evening, I just think that in a township size of 32 square miles, you can find a better use to provide affordable housing for only a handful of people. And while it's noble that we wanted to have this for veterans and lower income, moderate income people, there's got to be a better place for this. You can find a better place if you look harder. Be a little bit creative. There's a developer's term that talks about highest and best use of land. I would say that the highest and best use of this land, which is a remnant property shoved up against Route 202, 206, the highest and best use of this land is to leave it alone. Let it be woods, let it be natural, let it be a natural buffer for our neighborhood, which is only single-family houses. We live with ever-increasing light pollution, noise pollution, and air pollution from ever-increasing traffic. That merge, that weaving merge from coming up from the circle is a horror. You hear screeches of brakes, you hear horns blowing at all hours of the night, you hear the trucks with their Jake brakes going on, and it echoes throughout the neighborhood. That is not the place to put any residential development. So I would ask you to reconsider this. There's other ways that you can provide this housing in the township. And finally, I'd just like to acknowledge the outgoing council members here for your years of service. I've waited many years to speak from this side of the podium, and I would say that there is life after elected office. So enjoy your freedom, newly found freedom. Thank you again.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've reached the end of the public input. Could I have a motion to close public input, please?
I'll make that motion to close public input, move to final action.
Okay,
Subject
second?
to conversation.
Okay.
Second.
Now, I'd like to ask our learned counsel.
We need an aye to close public.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to second?
Motion to close it.
Yes.
Okay.
He made it, I seconded it.
And
Do we need an all in favor?
yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye. Okay. Up to you. I understand you were going to be the talking head for this one in terms of, no? Oh, okay.
This is a final action ordinance, so you could have discussion amongst the council with the caution that the matter is obviously in litigation.
Okay.
So the discussion must be limited. I mean, the public is well aware that this matter is in
Okay.
litigation. Beyond that,
That's fine.
I would just call for a final vote.
Okay. Vote on the motion, please.
Are we going to?
Is there discussion or no discussion? I'm interested in having limited
What would you like to say? Go ahead.
The reason we're here, the reason we're having this discussion is not because anybody wants to do this or that or the other thing on any particular piece of property. The reason we're here is because of the affordable housing obligations that our township faces and every other one in the state of New Jersey. I find it reprehensible that there's no part of the affordable housing formula that asks, does the community already have sufficient options and opportunities for people across the socioeconomic spectrum? Because I believe Bridgewater does. We have homes that are available and apartments that are available at relatively modest prices. We have homes and homes that are multi-million dollars and everything in between. Unfortunately, that's not part of the state formula. What is part of the state formula is that we must deliver over 400 affordable housing units. That's the responsibility we have to all 46,000 residents who we represent, whether or not they're in this room. So I could go point by point. I'm not going to do that. That perhaps could happen in another forum, particularly after any litigation is resolved. But just the two things that I do want to focus on: any implication that that we have not been to the neighborhood, don't understand the situation, don't want to hear from people. That's a false narrative. We have had what I believe to be a very largely respectful and very productive hearing tonight. I've been to this neighborhood and to this area multiple times, and the only other comment that I'll make is for those who are concerned about water on this or any other development in Bridgewater or anywhere else in New Jersey. If they are worried about water management, traffic, environmental impact, those items are all resolved at site plan review and before planning board. And generally speaking, with water management, which is an issue, everywhere, the concept that holds is any development must contain its own water and must make a situation no worse and hopefully better than it is in the previous condition. So, those are the facts. Individuals can choose whether or not they accept those. I don't know if there's any other conversation desired.
Yes. So Couple things of note. I know there was some questions about who's visited the site. I have. I would love to know how GK gets a parking spot in the middle of the circle, but that's probably a discussion for another night. But those of you in the neighborhood, I noticed that parking spot on the circle. Regarding what we're looking at tonight, there's a couple things. We have a recommendation given to us by our planning board recommending that we approve this. We have a fair share housing plan that was submitted to the state that included this project that they approved. We also, as we've heard tonight, not the township, but the developer of this site applied for a $3 million grant from Department of DCA Community Affairs. And surprising to some, this was awarded. So DCA has looked at this site and said, not only is this a good site, we think it's good to the tune of $3 million. As Councilman Kirsch alluded to, environmental issues, traffic, trees are all things that our land use board would look at, whether it's this application. We've heard tonight someone ask about, who's the winner of this, the people that own this site. This is, in my limited time, and probably in the last 3 or 4 years, this is the second different proposed use for this site. A couple of years ago, there was a plan for a digital billboard monument on this site that was before the zoning board. So whether it's this, a digital billboard, or any of the things, in the current C1 use that, funeral home, banks, doctors' offices, the traffic associated with those, if it was something in the current C1, all of that is determined by the land use board, not by this governing body. So that's my comments.
My comment is brief. We are attempting to meet a requirement mandated to us by the state. We were allocated 477 homes. And that was negotiated down to 421. And a lot of work has gone on using a professional planner who has gone out and visited dozens and dozens and dozens of sites. And this one has, it's not perfect. There are no perfect sites. Any other comments? If not, I will call for the roll call, please. Yeah.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordiller?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. Okay, we're moving to next, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 26, Personnel Policies, Article 4, Compensation and Pay Periods of the Bridgewater Code of the Township of Bridgewater to clarify compensation standards. I'd like a motion to open to the public, please, on this ordinance.
So moved.
Second. Okay, we are open to the public on Ordinance C. Anyone wishing to address the council, please come forward, give us your name and address, sign in.
Seeing no one, motion to close public comment.
All those in favor? A second, please.
Well, and move to final action.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. I want to give Mr. Pappas an opportunity if he wishes to make any comment before we have final action.
No, I can answer any questions that council would have, though.
Okay. This issue has been discussed in the past. If there are no additional items, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordiller?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. Moving to D, an ordinance of the Township of Bridgewater amending Section 320.3 entitled BRCC, Bridgewater Regional Corporate Center, Zone within Chapter 126 Land Use of the Municipal Code of the Township of Bridgewater, so as to bring the Bridgewater Regional Corporate Center Zone into conformance with the Township 2025 Master Plan Reexamination Report and its adoption by the Township Planning Board. Could I have a motion, please, to open to the public?
I'll make a motion to open to the public 10D.
Second, please.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're now open to the public. Anyone wishing to address the council on this issue, please come forward. Seeing no motion, could I have a motion to close D?
I'll make the
close
motion
public
to
input,
close.
move for final action.
To close and move to final action on pending any potential discussion on 10D.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordiller?
Yes.
Councilman Ring,
Yes.
President Nogales.
Yes. Okay. The next ordinance is E, an ordinance of the Township of Bridgewater amending Section 126 of the Bridgewater Township Code, amending Section 126-311, Title C-1 Neighborhood Business Zone to permit additional conditional uses. Motion, open the public meeting, please.
Make that motion.
Second?
Second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are open to the public on any input on the last ordinance. Seeing none, no one rise, could I have a motion to close and move for final action?
I'll make that motion, subject to any conversation that may be necessary.
Second.
Okay, any comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordiller?
Yes.
Councilman Ring,
Yes.
President Nogales.
Yes. 11, we have no introduction of ordinances. Under 12, I'd like to meld 12A and 12B. Certification of the 2024 municipal audit is A, and B is a resolution approving the corrective action plan. Mr. Pappas, would you enlighten us on these two, please?
Yes, I can address Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor.
So you have 12A, of course, is just to indicate you've received a municipal audit. As Councilman Nogales pointed out, there's a lot of information there, but the recommendations are ultimately kind of found in the front and the back. 12B is approving a corrective action plan. The one item that the audit raised was to make sure that all accounts are reconciled on a monthly basis. So to make sure that, at the end of every month, that there's no multi-month periods that go on. So the 12B corrective action plan is to make sure that a process is in place so that every month all banks are reconciled in a 30-day window. And that has been implemented and is ongoing now.
Okay.
That's it.
I'll move 10A and B on consent.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, 12A and B, just to clarify.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordiller?
Yes.
Councilman Ring,
Yes.
President Nogales.
Yes. Okay, I'd also like to use consent on 12C. I will read each of them. 12C, 12D, 12E, F, G, and H, and reading as individually. And these are all medical questions. 12C is authorizing Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey to provide health insurance to the Township of Bridgewater for a total annual premium of $6,508,000 for the year 2026. D is authorizing Benecard Services LLC of New Jersey Incorporated to provide prescription insurance to the Township of Bridgewater for a total annual premium of $3,980,000 for the year 2026. E is authorizing Delta Dental of New Jersey Incorporated to provide dental and vision insurance to the Township of Bridgewater for a total annual premium of $376,000 for the year 2026. F is authorizing the Hartford to provide supplemental health insurance to eligible retirees of the Township of Bridgewater for a total annual premium of $598,000 for the year 2026. G is authorizing an additional $50,000 to the law offices of Savo, Shaw, Corsini, Warner, Gillespie, Ogrodnik, Fisher, PA to provide affordable housing, legal services for the professional services contract for the year of 2025 for a total amount not to exceed $150,000. And lastly is H, an award of contract to Robert Wood Johnson Health Network Incorporated for the Somerset Ambulance Shared Services Agency, SASA, for daytime weekend ambulance services at no cost to the township for the years 2026, 2027, and 2028.
Just to clarify, the SASA is weekday.
Weekday.
You said weekend. It's weekday.
Thank you. Corrected. Okay.
Mr. Council President, a few comments on these briefly. On the health insurance, the 4 health insurance resolutions, the council did receive a presentation on this, but the biggest item, which is our health insurance costs, is at 0% increase. So this is the same cost for 2026 as we had in 2025. Same with dental, which we are obviously very happy that we're not seeing those costs go up. We are seeing The biggest rise, though, is in prescription usage. That did go up. One of the items that we're seeing a trend of is more people are using some of the weight loss drugs, and that's some of them are covered by insurance, and that increases costs. The good news is that at least some experts, foreshadow that as people are losing weight and therefore may be healthier, we may see savings in the future on less costs on other medical-related items as people are healthier. But that's the only item that's really a cost increase this year from the past. So those are the 4 resolutions so that we can have health care for our employees. 2 other notes for the on the increased legal services. That's for our affordable housing litigation, including litigation on Cornell Boulevard. And the SASA contract is a continuation of a partnership we have with Robert Wood Johnson. This is at no cost to the township, but they provide services for coverage during daytime when our volunteer EMS are unavailable.
I'll move 12C to H on consent.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. Moving to I, authorizing the execution of a settlement agreement with 555 Route 22 Associates LLC, paren ADP, and Somerset Center Number 1 LLC, SCC Number 2 LLC, SSC 3 LLC, SC 4 LLC, and LSCCV LLC, parenthesis SCV, pertaining to litigation regarding the property located at Block 411, Lot 39, and Block 408, Lot 67, also known as 555 Route 22 in the Township of Bridgewater. This is the Ethicon site. This is the settling the litigation between SJP next door and the former Ethicon property. If there are no questions, could I have a motion, please, on this one?
I'll make that motion.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. Moving to, I'd like to move J, K, L, M, N, O, and P, all on a consent basis.
I'll agree with that.
I have no objection.
What's that?
Start reading.
Okay. J is authorizing change order number 1, final change order increasing the amended contract price from $1,290,578.73 to $1,302,721.10, an increase of $12,142.37, authorizing acceptance of the project, release of the performance bond, acceptance of the maintenance bond, and final payment to DeSantis Construction Incorporated, 491 Elizabeth Avenue, P.O. Box 6030, Somerset, New Jersey, 08875, for the Rolling Hills Road Improvement Project, which includes the entire length of Rolling Hills Road, Brandywine Road, Hill Lane, and Vicky Drive, funded through the 2024 Road Improvement Capital Fund and financial year 2022 New Jersey DOT Municipal Aid Grant. K is professional engineering / surveying and inspection services for the Country Club Road, Ardsley Lane, and Goldfinch Drive Improvements Project, which includes Country Club Road, Roosevelt Street to the municipal boundary north, Ardsley Lane, Country Club Road to Eisenhower Avenue, and Goldfinch Drive, Ardsley Lane to Meadow Road to Collier's Engineering and Design Incorporated, Shelbourne at 153 Frontage Road, Suite 110, Hampton, New Jersey, in the amount of $149,500 funded through the 2025 Capital Road Improvement Bond and fiscal year 2025 New Jersey DOT Municipal Aid Grant in the amount of $356,411. Next one is professional engineering / survey inspection services for the Van Vechten Drive and South Avenue Road Improvement Project, which includes Van Vechten Drive, Findern Avenue to the terminus, and South Avenue, Findern Avenue to the terminus, to Collier's Engineering and Design, Incorporated, Shelburne at 153 Frontage Road, Suite 110, Hampton, New Jersey, 08827, in the amount of $89,750 funded through the 2025 Capital Road Improvement Bond and fiscal year 2025 New Jersey DOT Local Transportation Projects Fund Grant in the amount of $750,000. Authorizing the execution, I'm sorry, got to turn the page. Professional engineering services for the National Environmental Policy Act, and NEPA, environmental review report for the Camp Cromwell Facility Rehabilitation Project to Colliers Engineering and Design Incorporated, Shelburne at 153 Frontage Road, Suite 110, Hampton, New Jersey, 08827, in the amount of $50,500. Base scope of work funded through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, fiscal year 2024 Community Project Grant. N is professional engineering services for the tributary to Chambers Brook Drainage Study to the Reynolds Group Incorporated, 575 Route 28, Suite 110, Raritan, New Jersey, 08869, in the amount of $38,500 funded through the 2025 Capital Road Project. O is professional engineering services for the 1024 Brown Road Drainage Improvement Project to Colliers Engineering and Design Incorporated, Shelburne at 153 Frontage Road, Suite 110, Hampton, New Jersey, 08827, in the amount of $93,750 funded through the 2025 Capital Road Project, Road Bond. P is professional engineering services for the Spring Run Neighborhood Drainage Improvement Project to Colliers Engineering and Design Incorporated, Shelburne at 153 Frontage Road, Suite 110, Hampton, New Jersey, 08827, in the amount of $95,250 funded through the 2025 Capital Road Bond. Don't ask me to read it again, please. Any comments on that? Otherwise,
I'll move 12J through P on consent.
consent. Second, please.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordiller?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. Okay, next is Q, authorizing budget transfers for fiscal year 2025 appropriations in the amount of $855,178.14 in the current fund. This is strictly a movement of money as is permitted during the November and December timeframe. It represents no increase in expense whatsoever. It's just movement of funds. May I have a motion, please, on Q?
I'll make the motion to approve. Q.
Second, please.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Well, brief comment. So, for anyone who thinks that we're not minding every dollar, that's certainly proven in Resolution 12Q, including but not limited to properly funding the full salary of the Township Council. We must have been off by $1. So we are, down to every budget line remains in sync. And I do have to call attention about the middle of the second page, street lighting. We are moving $9,500 so that we will fulfill our full obligation to pay for our street lighting and keep our streets safe. Earlier in the budget process, there was a non-serious proposal to only pay a portion of our street lighting obligation. That's clearly not an option that we have. We pay our full bills, including but not limited to street lighting.
Roll call.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordiller?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. F is authorization to execute collective bargaining. R. I'm sorry.
R.
Yes. We're not going back to F.
You're not stringing this
Authorization,
out.
all right. Authorization to execute collective bargaining agreement between the Township of Bridgewater and Bridgewater Township Police Benevolent Association Local Number 174, PBA, effective January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2027.
Mr. Council President, as you noted, this is a agreement dating back to 2024. PBA has been without a contract for quite some time. I think this is a fair agreement for everybody, and with that, I will move 12R.
A second, please.
I'll second it.
A roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordiller?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. S.
One quick comment just for the council benefit and for the future council that are in the audience. We are very close on finalizing our SOA contract, and I expect that that could be on the agenda as early as January. Couldn't quite get it done before today, but I expect it will be on in January. So
Good
heads up.
news. S is authorizing a professional services agreement with Carlin Ward Ash and Hart LLC for special tax counsel services and appointing Carlin Ward Ash and Hart LLC special tax counsel to be paid on a contingent basis at no cost to the township. I'm going to offer comments on this. This was an issue that was kicked to the curb by this council some months ago. I was surprised that it has come back. I think this is poor governance. Basically, it's a recast back to earlier in the year when evidently this agency thought there was prior approval from this council, which there was not, and proceeded to go out and cream skim or cherry pick for those situations where commercial activities, commercial enterprises might have more taxes than might have been, wow. I don't know how I want to say this. Well, basically, they had a specific tax, and this company goes out and attempts to leverage increasing their taxable rate. It would, from my perspective, create anxiety among our commercial our commercial businesses, where they would think that although they knew what their taxes were today, all of a sudden tomorrow, this company comes to their door and says, hey, you owe us more taxes. I think we have a very competent tax assessment office, and I think it is perfectly appropriate that office continues to perform this function and not allow this type of thing to happen in our township.
For brief comment, this without going through the history, the short version is that this is a law firm that specializes in reverse tax appeals. Reverse tax appeals are times when we believe that, I should back up, the tax assessor acts independently from the township. So they, although a township employee, they create their own valuations of property. Here, there are certain instances where we believe commercial property owners have been undervalued, and we have an opportunity of bringing hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some instances, at least in one in particular, over $1 million of revenue back to the township because a commercial property has been undervalued. And so I'm asking the council to authorize this law firm to review and bring for consideration to the council two possible settlements that would bring hundreds of thousands of dollars each year back to the township's budget. And by authorizing this, we are not authorizing that we have to agree to whatever is able to be worked out, but it gives the council the opportunity to see what those numbers really would be, and if we think appropriate, to settle with these, in this case it's two, there future there could be others, but that's what I'm asking the council to consider, is having this firm engage in that dialogue with, in this case, two particular property owners.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Codiller?
I just want to say I've heard the arguments for this, pro and con. I'm going to vote no for the simple reason I just think we have a very valid tax assessor, and I think this needs more time.
Councilman Ring?
I am mixed on this. Solely if it's a trial, I would support it. Does not mean that I would support future efforts, but for the purposes of this one time, I would say yes.
President Nogales?
No. Tie vote. The effort fails. We have, next item is appointment to the Board of Adjustment, the regular member of John Kulak. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those, roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. U is appointment of Sarah Hausman as Director of Finance pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-43 and Article 9 of Chapter 4 of the Municipal Code of the Township of Bridgewater.
moved.
Sarah has, is second, please?
I'll second.
Sarah has been the QPA for a qualified purchasing agent and brings a lot to offer and some stability. This was a title that was formerly held by Mr. Pappas among 16 others, and it's time we offloaded that. Could we have a roll call, please, on that?
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Nogales?
Yes. Now, we're going to reflect.
Congratulations, Sarah.
She's here. You-
I work with Sarah quite a bit, Council President. She's excellent.
So do we. I'm now going to recast and ask Alan for his council report, please.
Took you long enough.
Nice.
Okay. What a meeting to end on. In thinking about my comments for tonight, it's not, in my opinion, it's not normal to go over 20 years doing something and then go to change. I've previously stated that I do believe in the democratic process. While I am disappointed, Joan, I'm not masquerading that, I certainly do wish our incoming candidates or council members the best of luck. And if you have any questions in the future where I might be able to help, please reach out. Regarding the service that I've had, it's been a ride. Let me tell you. Early on, we had meetings with crowds like this over culling the deer. We went for months. One group, the shoot 'em group was here. The following month, the sterilize 'em group was here. How you sterilize a deer, I don't know, but I didn't think that made sense. But we talked about it, we got through it, and I'm the guy that brought it up for discussion and said, guys, we really got to get it off the table, please. We can't go meeting to meeting with these changes. I want to say for the members of council and administration, I want to thank them publicly for all of your assistance on many issues, discussions to confirm opinions, to get a clearer understanding. I'm extremely grateful for that. Matt, Mike, our attorneys, Chris, and, Mike, Tim, obviously Howard, Howard and I have been doing this for over 500 meetings already. If you think about it, that's a lot of meetings. And I would be remiss not to thank my wife, Nancy, for her support during the year. And what you may not know is for almost 20 years, when I got home, she knew not to ask me what went on at the council meeting. She did know, however, that if I went home and pulled a bottle of scotch out and went and sat down for a while, she knew it was not good. So I want to thank Nancy for that. My son Alan and daughter-in-law Nancy are here this evening. For all those years that I've been doing this, I've had the support of my entire family. And that, to me, is the biggest blessing that I as a councilman can have. With us this evening is the family gatekeeper, Amanda. My daughter, as you all know, is a very, very special person in many, many ways to me. She is my gatekeeper. I look at her and I can say good, bad, or indifferent. Amanda, I thank you for everything that you have done for me over the years. You've given me the ability to see things differently, to maybe think about different options or how it affects people and so forth. especially those with special needs. And while you do have special needs, you have provided invaluable service to me. Thank you, sweetheart. Now, and then in closing, very short and sweet, the guys see me up here writing and doodling or whatever I do. When I first got into office, my brother, hey, I got to do something to support my brother. He gave me this pen. I have used this pen for 22 years. It's a reminder to me, it has been a reminder that when you're in politics, you have two lives. You have your personal life with your convictions, and you have your political life where you have to play within the boundaries. And I will tell you, and I've said it before, it's almost like a movie where the devil's over here, the angel's over here talking. I've had those moments. But this little trick of using this pen reminds me that, Alan, you're the councilman tonight. You're not Alan Cardilla, the resident of Crest Drive, who can walk around and say whatever he wants. No, I'm the councilman who has to be very careful with what he says and carefully address the information that is requiring me to vote. And I assure everybody in this room and every Bridgewater resident, it has been my pleasure to represent all 46,000 plus residents, even those who didn't want me to represent them, and that was a good meeting too. But it's always been my commitment to do the best that I can to take care of Bridgewater Township business. Howard, 6:45 on Thursday nights, buddy, I don't know what we're going to do. But as you stated earlier, maybe we'll go bowling.
You'll go bowling.
But I want to thank you for the hours that you and I have spent discussing issues and agreeing to disagree and having a mutual respect to each other.
You remember our earlier years when we sat side by side on the council, and there were times that a different council person, whose name I will not mention ever, would get off on a tirade, and Alan and I would sit there and we'd say, "Oh, geez, I got to do something." And so Alan came up with the idea. He said, "I have this pin and I want to stick it in my eye to get my attention." So one day I brought in one of my mother-in-law's knitting needles.
You brought a knitting needle in.
And said, "Hey, we're going to ramp up this process." Alan, thanks for the memories.
Howard, thank you. Michael?
Now, in my last comments, and I'm going to take a little bit different approach. I want to talk about some of the titles that I've held over the years, especially those jobs that might have helped me to be a better councilman. But before I do that, I want to thank my family for the wonderful support they provide these 21 and a half years so I could do council work. That includes my son James, who happens to be sitting here, daughter Karen, who's on her way away, and their combined troop of 5 children who have all grown to adulthood over the decades. They have appeared in several of my campaign brochures and in one video. In my private life as well as in my political life, I have been truly blessed with sharing my life with my best friend and significant other, Christine Phillips, sitting here on the end. We spent many election eve days and hours going door to door with Chris holding a clipboard on the sidewalk or in the street, pointing at the next street that I had to run up and knock on the door. In The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy tells her dog Toto, "I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore." There were streets we covered that I feared we were no longer in Bridgewater. I also want to thank the members of the clerk's office who are the only employees who work directly for the council. You all know Grace, who is our state certified clerk, and Juliana, are you back there someplace? Yeah, Julianne, who's our deputy, but you should also know Ally Gust and Natalie Trozy. Are you ladies here? Oh, okay. Who work the desk, answer the phone, and provide backbone for the council operation. Now on to titles. Probably the best titles I have are those related to family. As a father of 2 and grandfather of 5, I am called by many titles. Dad, Pop, Grandpa, Papa, sometimes even Sweetie, among others. They are all music to my ears. In my 39 years at AT&T Long Lines, I had lots of titles and accompanying business cards, but the titles that came closest to my task as a councilman was District Manager Finance, hence my love of and respect for numbers. In the U.S. Army, I was a staff sergeant and had that job and had little to do with being a councilman, but a lot to do with working with folks who, in some cases, didn't want to work with me. Come to think of it, maybe that job had more to do with being an effective councilman than I thought. In my church, I was an elder and deacon and headed numerous committees, including being the cemetery chairman for a 4.5-acre cemetery in Washington Valley in Pluckerman. Now, that was a very interesting assignment. I was vice president of the Somerset Chaplaincy to the Elderly, providing ministerial and spiritual support to residents in numerous nursing homes in Somerset and Middlesex. I have been a Bridgewater firefighter since 1976 and a fire company chaplain for many of those years. I was a high school swimming official for 25 years, including being president of the Swimming Officials Association of New Jersey. I attended clinics at the Colorado Olympic Training Center to sit in on panels on the ever-changing swimming rules. But the title that I will hold for the next 2 weeks, that of Bridgewater Councilman, is one that I am very proud of. To know that I had the overwhelming support of you, the residents of Bridgewater, during 6 council elections gladdens my heart. I am truly grateful and honored for the opportunity to be part of the team that is the Bridgewater Council. As a councilman, I have but one of 5, and while my voice at times may have been a little louder than others, it was still only one. I believe that the actions we took as council and every resolution and ordinance we passed was to protect and enhance the quality of life for our residents. In 2 weeks, on December 31st, I will have been a councilman for exactly 21 years and 6 months. Now, I did the math, and that means for over 25% of my entire life. Actually, Mr. Pappas, it's 25.62965%. I was a member of this council. If I added zoning board and planning board time, it would be closer to a third of my life serving the community that I moved to in 1975. Last year, my family and I collectively made the decision that at 83 years of age, very soon to be 84, I would not seek re-election for 2026. It was time for me to stop and smell the roses, and I intend to do that. As we enter the 2026 holiday season, I would like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or just plain Happy Holidays, if that is your preference. And may God protect and bless our troops, our first responders, and our citizens during these very stressful times. As my last official public act, I move for adjournment of the Bridgewater Council in its last meeting of 2025. I look to my fellow firefighter and long-term friend Alan Credilla for the second. Alan, are you
I will
willing to
second
that?
it. I will.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So if I don't say aye, you can't leave?
We're still going to adjourn.
Okay, aye.
Thank you all for the memories. We are adjourned.